All right, so going through some of your comments from my last video, it sparked some ideas, and also it sparked a conversation, a long conversation that I just had with my lady friend about an hour ago. And I'm trying to remember everything we just talked about, and I told her we should have recorded everything because I thought it would have made like a really cool video or like a podcast episode. But basically, we were talking about dating or people choosing to not date, dating apps versus meeting people in the real world, in person, introverts, extroverts, the whole thing. So right now, I just want to share some of the stuff that we were talking about because I have a feeling that some of you will relate. I also saw something on Instagram just this morning, and it was this middle-aged woman talking about she was going to delete all of her dating apps. I've seen this woman before a couple times on Instagram, and she was talking about her dating experiences from the perspective of being a woman in her 50s. And it sort of got me thinking. From what I've seen of this woman, all she really does is bitch and moan and complain about all of these dates that she goes on, and then essentially blames every failed interaction on the man. So then, now, because she can't seem to find anybody, she's taking a break and deleting all of her dating apps. And my point to that is good. And my other point to that is to look in the mirror. And I don't say that to be judgmental or mean or anything. I say it because in a lot of ways it's the truth. And I think this might apply to some of you. And again, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but generally speaking, you attract what you are. So on a scale of 1 to 10, hypothetically speaking, if you're an honest, say 5, you're going to attract 5s and below. Now, if you're a 5 out there chasing 9s and 10s, you're going to struggle. And you might think then at that point that there's no good women out there or they're all just bad. But look, I totally get it, right? We want what we want and we like what we like. But let's look at this scenario. Most men want a beautiful, sexy, gorgeous woman. And I think that's pretty fair to say. So then, if most men are looking for the same things in a woman, she now has options. Probably even more options than you have. And of course, this totally goes both ways. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But my point is, all right, so say you finally land that super hot woman, you've got a date secured with her. Most guys, anyway, will tend to fumble at this point. They're so obsessed with the way that she looks, you lose your mind and you forget who you are, and you end up pushing her away because you now come off as too needy, too excited, or overly accommodating. You probably haven't been in that position before and you're just not sure how to act. And like I said before, this totally goes both ways because a lot of women will say that they want a man over 5'10", a good body, single, making over 100K a year, and the list goes on. But when you run the numbers, that man that they all want represents less than 1% of the men in the US. So it's the same exact story, right? She has to find that man, attract him, and then hope that he likes her back. That dude has a lot of options. So that's going to be a real struggle for a lot of women. And I'm not necessarily telling anyone to lower your standards, but what I am saying is to be realistic. Now here's something else. Over the last couple of years, and I've talked about this in some other videos, I've had a very active dating life. And I don't say that to be douchey. I say that because it's the truth and it just is what it is at this point. And sometimes when I make videos about dating and encouraging men to do the things that I do, which is basically get out of your house and go meet people, I tend to get pushback from a lot of guys who say that works for me because I'm more extroverted, but they're introverted. And my response is generally the same thing, and it's to don't use that as an excuse. Because if you wanted to, you could think up any excuse to not do something. The fact is this: the woman of your dreams isn't coming to knock on your door. You have to go where the people are. Human beings are social creatures. And even if you have an issue talking with people, it's still a good idea to put yourself in a social bubble, right? Here's what I mean. You could go to a coffee shop, grab a table, enjoy your coffee and a sandwich, and not talk to anybody. And for the record, there's nothing wrong with that. But what this does is it puts you in the room with a lot of different people. Now, you're not technically interacting with those people, but you're still getting some type of social fulfillment just from being in that bubble. There's no expectation. You're not trying to necessarily talk to people. All you're doing is putting yourself in a social bubble, and whatever happens, happens. So I would still encourage you to get out of your house and start doing things. When I was single, I was always taking myself out, and there was never really any expectation. Man, I would take myself out to concerts, comedy shows, dinner, bars, whatever. I'm putting myself in that social bubble that, number one, is super fun, but number two, it provides the opportunity for conversation and meeting new people. If something happens, great. If not, no big deal. And the more you do that, the more comfortable it gets. And I promise you, no one's looking at the single guy sitting at the bar thinking he's pathetic. In fact, it almost goes the other way in a lot of cases. Like, hey, who's that guy over there sitting at the bar by himself? He's decent looking, wearing some nice clothes. He looks like he takes care of himself. Who is he? Oh, maybe he's waiting for his wife. Maybe she's next door at the hotel. Oh, wait, he doesn't have a ring on. Becky, go over there and say hi. There's a lot more mystery involved in anything negative. So if that negativity is a concern of yours, let it go. I also get pushback from dudes that are simply afraid to approach women. They're seeing all this negative stuff on social media right now where women are calling guys creeps for even approaching them. But look, you have to take a step back, zoom out, and look at all that stuff because it's generally coming from younger women in their early 20s. So if you're a dude in your 40s or older, I might ask that you increase your age limit. Those are girls, my friend, not women, and they don't even know what they want yet. If you're 45 plus, I would think anyway that your age window for a woman would be somewhere around 35 to 45. Focus on them because those women typically have their shit together and don't complain and blame everybody else like those young girls. Just don't waste your time. Personally, I've got zero problem talking to women because like I've said a bunch of times before, you didn't know her 5 seconds ago. So if you go say hi and it doesn't work out, you're right back where you started, right? No big deal. But the positive takeaway is that you did the thing, right? You got off your butt and went and said hi. Good. Do it again, and then again, and then again. It's building reps and it's building confidence. And before you know it, rejection isn't even a thing anymore. It doesn't really bother you. The way I like to look at it is this. The universe is filtering out people who aren't my people. If she doesn't like you, good. If you go on a date and she ghosts you the next day, good. It's way better to hand those people right back to the universe early than it is to deal with drama after you're the only one who's been trying to make things work for 6 months. Not everybody is going to like you, and you're not going to like everybody. And that's perfectly okay. If you look at it any other way, I might suggest that you take a step back, zoom out, and try to understand that it's okay to not want to pursue a romantic relationship with someone, and it's okay if she doesn't want to pursue one with you. Sure, it might suck for a minute, but you've got to realize it's okay. Now, a few years back, I was on dating apps. I think I tried Bumble for maybe a week, but deleted it right away, and then I was on Hinge for a couple of months. It was okay, I guess. I met some people, but I just found it to be a complete waste of time. I'm just way better in person anyway. But if you're introverted, I will concede that dating apps could be a good way to connect. But I think for everybody else, I almost think it's the lazy man's approach. And I say that with some reservation, right? Because I know that it's a tool that can work for a lot of people. But at least in my experience and with a lot of other people I've spoken with, apps are generally a big waste of time. And I'm sure there's going to be some comments from dudes that say that you shouldn't date at all, and why would you even subject yourself to losing everything to a woman? And if that's your decision, that's fine. Go be happy with your decision. But the minute that you start leaving comments that are negative like that on social media, you're exposing yourself that you're not happy with your decision. Once again, humans are social creatures, and there's really only a very small percentage of men who can actually go be happy being completely alone and isolated. Now, a lot of us might try that approach because we've been hurt, but now you're doing it out of pain. You made that decision based on a traumatic experience, not because it's something that you actually want for yourself. And unfortunately, those are the guys that tend to be the most vocal about going their own way. And as always, my friends, I welcome your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Live well, and I hope to see you in the next one.